Five are left in the industry until President Trump signs the Clarity Act. It has to clear Congress first, and we know how that's going. Anyway, I just wanted to make this video. It's Sunday Fun Day. I want to watch NFL, and I wanted to just share with you guys that currently we have to remind ourselves that the only two cryptocurrencies that have full regulatory clarity within the United States are Bitcoin and XRP. Bitcoin, first off, it's a commodity, right? It can't be security because there's no company behind it. Nobody knows who even created it. So it's just a commodity, kind of like gold. It was created by, I guess you could say, God, if you believe in that, or if you're an atheist, it just existed, right? Forever, somehow. Anyway, Bitcoin is a commodity. That's 100% sure. It's governed by the CFTC. It's not governed by the SEC. The SEC doesn't touch it. The Securities and Exchange Commission, the regulatory body in the United States, which deals with commodities and futures trading, basically commodities in the US, Bitcoin is under them. XRP had the case. Sure, we had a really weird ruling where the first half says XRP is not a security, according to Judge Torres, at least Melissa Torres, when sold on exchanges to retail, but it is when sold to institutions. What we don't see in that is that institutions are individuals, right? So retail can buy it. Remember, there's that digital asset treasuries. They're buying it. So I guess if they buy it over the counter, as long as Ripple's not selling it to them directly, or Ripple buys it from themselves every month when it's released from escrow, it doesn't constitute a security. So institutions are buying it and they're storing it, again, in digital asset treasuries. New companies are being created that do this with XRP. And to make things even better, remember that as soon as the government opens, the last government shutdown, I believe, lasted 32 days. That's the record. Again, it was when Trump was in office. And the first one was the first one ever was in the 80s and the 90s, and Bill Clinton was one of the big ones. But it hasn't really been shut down for a long time before Trump in 2018. It's shut down now. That means that the government is mostly shut down. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Only Paul Atkins is working. I guess unnecessary staff is not. So until we have the government shutdown end and the government's back to work, we will have no ETFs approved. I believe the first approval for XRP ETFs was actually yesterday. Approval date. Today's 26th. That would have been October 25th, 2025. But obviously, we haven't had the Litecoin one approved. We haven't had the Sol one approved, not the XRP one approved. But as soon as it is approved, I believe Solana's going to be first in the XRP, like blanket approvals for every company applying for them. This opened the gateway for institutions to buy it. Right now, Fidelity, notice, they've listed Solana. I predicted this on Twitter, that they're going to list XRP next, and that's for spot trading. Somehow Solana's like weird because even though their creator is like in Switzerland and their foundation was originally in Switzerland, I think they had a grace period to move everything over to the United States, so they're considered American-made crypto. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Anyway, Fidelity is listed Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin for trading. And Solana in the past couple of days. I believe XRP is next. And since XRP has regulatory clarity, until the Clarity Act is passed, which hopefully will happen before, through to Thanksgiving, we have to understand that if you compare Bitcoin and XRP specifically, nobody knows if, this is not what I believe, but Tucker Carlson said he doesn't know who invented it. He thinks it might be the CIA. That lack of clarity, specifically of not knowing who invented it, who can shut it down, even though it can't be shut down at this point, in my opinion, well, this is actual fact, it scares a lot of investors, professional investors, right? A lot of family offices that are on the fence, but you can invest in a product like XRP, which again, you know who the founders are. They're still alive to this day, to the most part. Maybe like one of them disappeared for a little bit, but you have Ripple, the company that owns the majority of it in escrow. So de facto controls a lot of the supply. And they've met with the president, right? Again, you don't have that with Bitcoin. You haven't had somebody go and meet with the president that, was the Satoshi Nakamoto. He heard them. Although I personally believe that it was one person. This is just fun fact that we don't know. I personally believe it was one person, and I believe it was a man. This is based on the fact that there was a specific email I'm sure you could share. However, the way they spoke English and they traced the time, it was traced basically as one person sleeping on Japanese time, which that could mean somebody in their basement that just isn't that likes to work all night and sleep all day, and they use British English. That means right there that it was most likely not an American, like British spelling and like slang. Anyway, the person that created Bitcoin, again, nobody knows. I mean, I have an idea of who it is, and I know somebody that actually talks to the actual creator. I can't say too much because I don't want the FBI to show up where I'm at. You know, they can always just get rid of you. But again, Bitcoin is seen as a product that's still unsafe. So if you're in the US, the biggest equity market in the world, and the biggest amount of money to invest in products. Hey, what's up? BSJ Gaming. And you're a professional investor and you're looking to invest in a project that is ISO 222 compliant, the only one in the world, is going to be used versus, Bitcoin, I guess the store of value. That's it really at this point. But XRP is going to be used soon. We'll be sending trillions of dollars between banks daily. You're going to have all that on the XRP ledger, that liquidity. And remember, the liquidity layer for the XRP ledger is XRP. We have RLUSD. That's where you can compete with Ethereum. But again, it's only Bitcoin and XRP. They're the only two ones with regulatory clarity. You know that XRP is going to have trillions of dollars moving, within it. Like it's ledger daily. Bank of America sends money to Bank of Japan. Billions of dollars a day. That's just one example. You have this with the UK, banks all over the world. And the BRICS, let's be honest, they're going to use a neutral settlement cryptocurrency. If China makes a cryptocurrency, which I highly doubt they'll do, I mean, they have the CBDC. Who the hell's going to trust them? Wouldn't you rather just use a neutral currency like, I don't know, XRP? It's made for cross-border settlements and transactions in seconds. And it's pretty cool. I mean, I like it as an investment vehicle because I believe in what it can do. I don't like it for sending money specifically. I prefer Solana. But again, the only products with regulatory clarity, investment, Bitcoin, XRP. XRP, you know who it is. If shit hits the fan, you know who to sue. Second, you know it has a use case other than just a store of value. You know that it's going to be used. As of November 22nd, ISO 222 compliant for international bank-to-bank remittances and settlements as well. And again, you have RLUSD, which is a stable token, which is the only stable token that has a bit license in the United States and full regulatory clarity. That's more so than USDT does not, and USDC even more so than that. I believe USDC does not have the bit license in New York. Actually, it does or somehow it has some kind of regulatory clarity because USDC Circle, the company that issues USDC, is on the stock market in the United States, but you can also, on Coinbase and other accounts, you can also use RLUSD as a stable. It's one of the options of the stable token. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna enjoy football. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video because more people have to learn about stuff like this because this is very important knowledge I'm throwing on you guys. I'm not making videos where it's like XRP is gonna go to $5,000, by the end of this year. I give you videos based on facts and evidence. Salute Detroit 313. You're gonna have to start from the beginning, brother, because I'm about to go out. I actually just opened a DraftKings account, by the way. I'm actually going to start doing a little bit of gambling on the side because a friend of mine is making some good money, and I think it's fun. And this money, we made in crypto, and I'm not afraid to lose. But with that being said, I'm gonna get ready, get some pizza in me, enjoy the Jersey Shore, upwards and onwards.